Welcome to the final part of this little graduation series that I've been doing in honor of grad season. Today, we are joined by my college bestie because we have been out of college for 2 years and we're gonna talk about it today. We actually did a 1-year post-grad episode last year, so if you want to watch that is still up and I'll link it below. There are 2 other episodes that are a part of this series, and they also feature some very special guests. We get into pre-grad life, graduation itself, and this is the final part where we're getting into the post-grad life. That all being said, let's get into the episode. Let's welcome Sophia Watson back to the channel. Welcome back.
Thank you. Hi, guys.
So we're 2 years post-grad.
We are.
That's crazy. You know, I actually listened to our pod that we did last year.
You re-listened to it?
Yeah, I wanted to see like if our expectations for this past year ended up being what we thought it was gonna be.
Right, did we talk about what we...
Yeah, we did.
Oh!
I completely forgot
Me
about
too!
what we even talked about.
Okay, so what did we say?
Okay, so I remember feeling so much pressure. Like, I couldn't even talk about post-grad life without tearing up. I fully cried when we recorded that because I was like...
It's just really intense.
Not ready to talk about the post-grad life because I felt so much pressure to, like, have everything figured out at that time. Definitely don't feel like that anymore, which is nice.
Okay, love.
Yeah. I feel like you had worked through the pressure a little bit better and you were, like, very calm. Everything that you were saying, like, you were like, I agree, the pressure is really bad, but we never really know what we're doing and we're never going to figure it out. Like, you told that story about your grandma.
Oh, right.
At the end, I asked what your goals for this next year would be, and you said to trust yourself more because you were struggling with uncertainty and you wanted to approach the decisions that you made for yourself with more conviction.
Okay. Oh
Yeah.
my gosh, past me. I didn't even know I said that. Okay,
Yeah.
But wow, if that's the case, then I have really done both of those things.
Love that.
Like, wow. I feel like, yeah, this year, a really big theme of, like, my life and just something that I've been, like, really working on very actively has been going for things with, like, more conviction, trusting in my intuition, and being much less bothered about how things that I do may look to other people.
Yes.
Obviously, I'm not, like, saying that I can just do that every single time easily now, but compared to, I guess... a year ago, I feel like I've definitely done these things more. I'm kind of surprised that I said that, honestly, because that's been such a recurring theme in my life lately, and I'm really proud of myself.
Oh, I'm proud of you. Well, how are we feeling?
I think my philosophy of late is just every day is a new day, and we're just riding the wave. Like, I know
That's
that
interesting
sounds...
because you said that last year tw.
Did I?
Yep. You were
Okay.
saying stay by day.
Cool.
So nothing has changed.
Basically, I'm the same. No, but I guess it's just that, like, I have become even more comfortable with the fact that it's like, I do not know what my next 6 months are going to look like. And I don't say that with really, like, as much fear as I think I used to.
Yeah.
I say it with a lot of excitement and
Curiosity,
yeah. Like, I want to find out. I think that it's one of the realizations that I've had after finishing college. When I was in college, I used to think that, like, you would finish college, and even if you didn't get a job immediately, like, whatever, you know, the, like, stereotypical, like, exact path that you go on. I always thought that would be, like, you just know what's next. Because when you're in school, it's like you just know what's next throughout your whole life.
And you have, like, a plan laid out for you.
Right.
And people telling you, like, this
you
is
know what to
yeah.
do. And I think that when I finished college, even though I was like, oh, I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, and, like, it's definitely more up to you to kind of shape your own path of whatever you do in life, I still felt like it would be a lot more clear than it was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I didn't expect to feel that uncertain or that lost, that confused. Even now, I would say I still feel confused. Like, it's not like I've gained so much clarity, maybe a little bit here and there, but it's more that I've just gotten comfortable or more comfortable with feeling confused, and so it doesn't feel as, like, jarring to me.
Yeah. The big thing for me last year was I felt so much pressure to have everything figured out and have, like, answers when somebody would ask me, like, what are you doing now? Especially also because I was unemployed, and what I was pursuing was like an unconventional path that I'm still pursuing, but at least I have some stability because I am now an employed girly, which has been actually a really good thing. I feel like it's provided me with some stability, and at least when somebody does ask me that question, I'm like, oh, this is what I do. And I don't have to tell them about the unconventional thing that I may not be comfortable with sharing. Like, at least I have an answer that feels like people are not gonna judge me for.
Right. That's actually interesting because I was listening to these other two girls. I love their podcast. It's called Goes Without Saying. They were talking, well, one of them was talking about how, so they have a podcast. It's like, that's their job now. And one of them used to work at like a pub or cafe or something as her like day job, like her more stable thing. And she talked about how when people used to ask her, what do you do? Even when their podcast was like, they have like a really successful podcast, like it's definitely their job, but she would always be like, oh yeah, no, I work at a cafe. And like the other girl would always be like, no, like you have a podcast, like we have a podcast. And she talked about how it's been 4 or 5 years and only just now has she become comfortable enough to be like, actually I do this. And she also said, like, when she goes to events and stuff, she's, like, pushing herself to actually say what she does instead of, like, or I guess, she quit the cafe. So now she has to say this.
Yeah.
But I think it's interesting that you said that because it can be really hard, I think, to, like, deal with, I don't know if it's, like, shame or if it's judging yourself, but when you're just not doing what other people expect you to do, or outside of that, when you're not doing what people, it's, like, what people will be okay with. You know what I mean? Like, when you tell people certain answers, like, there are things that people want to hear.
Yeah.
And there are some things that make people feel a little confused or, like, uncomfy.
It's just, like, socially acceptable things.
And I think that it's interesting that you say that because technically, like, I would say you put more time into what you are actually, like, passionate about and pursuing.
Yeah.
But it's easier for you to say.
Yeah, because then I don't have to explain myself. I remember a huge thing that I struggled with last year was, like, everybody around us was going into their little corporate jobs, their 9-to-5s, and I felt like that was what I had to do, or what was the expectation, and, like, I've just never been that way. Like, I've never wanted to have a corporate job, I've never wanted to have an office job, and it felt weird to, like, be surrounded by people who were doing that, and I was just, like, not doing anything, except, like, doing YouTube, which is, like, when you say that, it's like, do you make money from that? Can you support yourself from that?
I think it's because when people ask, like, what do you do, a lot of the time, that's implying, like, what do you do to make money?
Yes.
And maybe it feels a little bit invalidated when you say YouTube because you're like, I don't make money from it yet.
Yeah. And it's like, it's not a guarantee ever.
Right. But I wonder if you started making any money from it, would you feel more comfortable saying that, or would it be even like a certain amount of money? Like, I don't know. But I think it's from when we're really young and like we just get expectations put on us, or not even expectations, just like things that we are told are the right way to do things. And it's really hard, as much as you can have self-conviction and as much as you can believe in yourself or want to do something, be passionate about something, it's still really hard to like do something different to other people.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to talk about that proudly because the fact is people are going to judge you. And it's not nice to think about, but like that's something you have to come to terms with.
Yeah.
You know?
And I think I also remember like telling myself, like, if somebody asks me what I do, I'm just gonna say YouTube, because I imagine if it were the thing that I could support myself from, I would have no issue with saying it.
Right.
But then once I got my retail job, that's just what I say now. And it's so much more comfortable for me to just say that because I don't have to explain myself, especially to people that I don't really want to explain it to.
Sure, yeah.
But anyways, all this to say, like, having this job has surprisingly been a great thing. And I don't think I ever thought that I would get to a point where I would say, like, I'm actually, like, happy with the job that I have, even though it's not, like, my end goal or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, if you like it, and if it brings you, like, general, not happiness, but, like, for example, I like my job, too. I work at a restaurant, and I like it because I love the people, and I enjoy going, and it gives me a little bit of stability in my life.
Yes.
And, like, it doesn't have to be that deep. Do I want to be a restaurateur in the future? Like, I don't think so. It's not what I'm trying to do, but it doesn't mean that you can't, like, be really happy about and grateful for the job anyways.
Yeah. I feel like it's given me space to be able to comfortably pursue a passion, which has been really nice.
Yeah, that is really nice. And I think when you're not worrying about the financial part of it, when you're not worrying about like having to make your passion like financially support your whole life, even though that's the goal maybe, you can actually put more time and enjoyment into it because you're not stressing about like, oh my god, I have to do this. And I'm
also happy that this job showed me the benefits of having a stable job, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Because now I can go into looking for another job knowing that I'm okay with like having a job that I can consistently go to. Because before I was really afraid of the idea of like being trapped in like a job that I hated.
Yeah, I do. I think that like part of it is something I've noticed is obviously on social media, like it's become, I don't know if it's a trend, but we're in an era where people are like, don't go to your 9 to 5, like be an entrepreneur and like make a bunch of money by the time you're 25 and like be a digital nomad and like whatever. You know what I mean though?
Yes.
Like it's like really the era of that. And I respect it and like I think it's really cool for the people who want to do that. Totally. I get it. But it's like a very like 9 to 5 hater era.
Yeah.
And so I feel like maybe like that kind of, it was informing. Because I kind of understand, like, I was just thinking about how a year ago, I was actually at my old job.
Yeah.
And before I got that job, I kind of also had the same feeling where I was a little bit of like, I was just nervous about how my life would change if I had a 9 to 5 or anything like stable of that sort, because I had consumed a lot of content, which made me feel like that was a wrong way to go. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And of course, a lot of people do it anyways. And like, people might be like, why would you feel that way when most people, that's like how they work and that's how they live? I mean, like my dad has had a 9 to 5 kind of job his whole life. And
I mean, social media, to be able to sustain yourself financially through social media is such a new thing. Like 9 to 5s have been the way that people support themselves forever.
yeah.
It's new to have the option to not.
Exactly. And I think that like this new wave of being like, don't fall into the trap of like da 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 da. Yes, that is the reality for some people who really don't like their jobs or who get stuck doing something for a long time, like much longer than they need to be there. But for a lot of people, it's just fine and it supports their life.
Yeah.
And I feel like maybe that was like a, like that, is the word like apprehensiveness to being in like something stable like that. Maybe just needed you to like try it. And then you were like, wait, actually it's totally fine.
Yeah. And I think the whole like hating the 9 to 5 movement is more towards like, we do, at least American culture, we work a lot. In other countries, I feel like there's so much more of a work-life balance. I listened to your podcast when you went to Europe, and you made a great point about how people in Europe have a much more balanced lifestyle when it comes to work life. I mean, that's just not the case here, and I think the movement of hating the whole 9 to 5 is more of an opposition to the 40-hour-a-week work week, because it's really hard to support yourself even when you do have a 9 to 5 now. People are finding themselves having to work like 2 jobs, and it just takes the pleasure out of life, working so much.
But yeah, maybe it was like more of like a fear of like, I don't want to step foot into that world because once I do, then you're going to get trapped in whatever it means to like, I mean, specifically in the US, like whatever it means to people here. But then I realized, like, I was thinking about my dad as well. And like, my dad loves his job. Yeah. It's like a full day job. He's in an office. Like my whole life, he's worked a job like that. He's always told me how much he loves his job, how much he enjoys going to work, how much he looks forward to going to work. And like, even though maybe I can't relate, because my experience, I wasn't really even in a corporate job, guys. I was like just working in an office, and it was a really nice office and the people were great and whatever, but I have trouble sitting down for like 8 hours. Yeah. Maybe I couldn't relate to him, but like there are people where that
like it's fine,
like it works. You know what I mean? Because I realized like over time, I think especially after college, I've been realizing like it's really just about finding something you like to do. No matter what you want to work on, if you're editing a video, it's gonna take hours, like you're doing it, but since you like it, it changes your whole mindset about it. And I think regardless of like what type of job it is or how long you have to be somewhere or where you have to be, it's really just like, does it give you what you need to be fulfilled in that moment? Not even like life journey fulfilled. Like, can you support yourself? Can you like be healthy mentally? Do you like the people that you encounter? Like simple things. But that does make a really big impact on your quality of life.
Yeah, and I think also something that I've been able to realize with my job is that it doesn't have to be like the thing that I do for the rest of my life. Like it can just be a stepping stone. It can just be what I'm doing for the moment. It's not permanent. Like I was always afraid that if I got a job, like I would just get stuck in that and I wouldn't be able to escape. I don't know why I thought that, but it was just like a fear that I had. And I think I've been able to come to terms with the fact that I can actually leave whenever I want.
Yeah.
Whatever's going to support me in the moment is okay.
Yeah. I spoke to this woman at work who, I think she's like 30 something, and she was like, I remember when I was in my 20s, like I felt so much uncertainty, like every day was like a battle. She was like, it felt so intense and confusing, and she was saying how it's really beautiful because that's like the defining thing of the time. The defining thing of being in this period of life is not knowing what you're doing and changing your mind a lot and trying different things. And like for us, or for people our age, it's really normal for it to feel like it could be the rest of your life, like that thought, because you're not past it yet. Then one day you wake up and you're 30 or you're 35, and then you look back on it and you're like, that was such a phase.
Yeah.
But in the phase, it doesn't feel like a phase.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah.
I wasn't upset or anything, but she was really set on comforting me this day.
I love that.
And she was like,
sometimes you just need to
I
hear
just want you to know, like, no matter what's happening in your life, like for the next 5 years, she's like, just write it and enjoy it. And like one day you're going to wake up and be like, I miss it. Because it was such like an interesting and fun part of your life.
Yeah. That's actually something that I've been thinking about so much lately, which is that I look back on certain periods of my life and wish I could go back to them. And there's only one period of my life where I was so fully present to the point where I'm like, I lived that period of my life to the fullest possible. And I'm not doing that right now. And so I'm trying to look at my life right now and be like, just find gratitude for where I'm at. Because last year I was struggling with all this pressure and feeling like I had to know exactly what I was doing. And now I think I'm just struggling with like being unhappy with where I am and not knowing what's next. And I know that whenever I exit this particular stage of my life, I'm probably going to look back on it and be like, I wish I was more grateful or more present.
Yeah.
And I know this, but it's like, you know, you wake up and you're like unhappy with your life and it's hard to like find those moments of gratitude, but I'm just glad I'm aware of it so that I can at least like be mindful about it.
Yes. I think that like compared to last year, I feel like I'm a lot more open to trying things. I was then too, because I was trying something new at that point with my old job. Like I just started it. I felt like I was open to trying something new, but like the word trying to me, I'm putting emphasis on it because it's like when you try, you don't know.
Yeah.
It's like you're trying, you don't know if it will work. So I feel like maybe in the past it's been harder for me to try things because when you don't know, it can feel like, oh, I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to embarrass myself. I don't want to look stupid for trying. I've been working on just becoming more comfortable, and I think I have become a lot more comfortable since last year in trying things and being like, you know what, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. I'm only 24 years old.
Yeah.
Like I literally have so much of my life to go. I have conviction in myself in that like I know that I'm coming at things with a good intention, and that I won't ever know like what I'm able to do. I won't ever know what I like to do if I can't try. And even if that may feel like I'm wasting a year, or like I'm looking dumb for doing or making a mistake or like doing something kind of embarrassing, at least I don't know how to phrase this. At least I tried. Like, you know what I mean?
Because a
like,
lot of people don't even try.
Yeah, and I get it, because like a lot of times in my life I haven't tried.
Yeah.
Like it's really hard to sometimes. I think there's lots of reasons why people don't, but I guess I'm trying to like take this phase of my life as an opportunity. Like I don't really have that much responsibility right now outside of myself, and I'm really grateful for that, but that won't be the case forever.
Wait, yes, this is a huge thing that I think about too. I'm like, well, if there's a time to try it, it is now, because the older that we get, the more responsibility that we have, also tying us to one particular place, like physically.
Exactly.
That's a huge thing.
Family, children, if you ever have kids. Like, as you get older, life just gets more and more stuff.
Yeah.
Gets added onto your plate.
Yeah.
And even if it's great stuff, it just makes it harder to make decisions on a whim, like purely because you're like, I just want to try this.
Yeah.
And of course, I don't think that when you get older you can't try stuff, because I also like have a lot of respect for those people who try things regardless at any age, and like they really inspire me because I can see people who are like 50 years old just going after things they want. Same. And I love meeting people like that. Mm-hmm. It's just that right now I'm like, well, why not? Like I have the chance to, so I should.
Exactly. No, I totally agree. You know what? I actually applied for a corporate job recently. Did I tell you this?
You did I did tell you this to me, yes. But you should recount for the crowd.
So a lot of my issues right now go back to my family, and I feel like talking about your family is a weird thing, because it's like they're not the ones who are telling their story, right? And I don't want to like air out their dirty laundry, but like it just got to a certain point in my family where I was like, I need a higher paying job because I cannot fucking be around my family anymore. And the reality is for me, like, I live at home, and that's how I'm able to sustain myself right now. I mean, I used to feel a lot of, like, shame about that, but, like, it just is what it is. It's not going to be forever. So many people are in the same position, and there are different challenges that you have to deal with when you live on your own. It's just like you get to choose the way that you want to suffer, I guess. Mm-hmm. But a lot of, like, my issues right now are a result of my family, and it got to a certain point where I was like, I need to basically apply for a corporate job that will pay me enough so that I can move the fuck out, because I cannot handle it anymore. Anyways, I applied, and I didn't have any of the necessary relevant experience, and they totally denied me. And I actually only even applied because I know somebody in that company, so I thought that that would, like, give me some kind of advantage, because a lot of the opportunities that I've been able to take to the fullest extent is a result of the people that I know. Like, everybody says that your network is the most important thing, which, I mean, us coming from USC, like, it is. But yeah, I was, like, open to doing it because I was just, like, at a really low point, and I knew somebody in there, so I thought I had an advantage. No, they didn't even offer me an interview, which is totally fine, like, whatever. But I tried. I was, like, open enough to the point where I was like, okay, it's time for the corporate life. And you were kind of working a more corporate job. Yeah. For, like, a year.
Yeah, I kind of, like, don't know whether to call it corporate, because I don't really even know sometimes what that means.
I think it was corporate.
You know what I mean? But, like, I wasn't corporate in the sense that it was, like, it was the least corporate job, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but you were still, like, in the office from, like, 9 to 5.
It was a very structured
5 days
job.
A week.
It was a very structured.
You were on a salary.
Yes.
Right? Like,
totally.
That's, I mean...
If that's what corporate means, I just don't even know. I feel like corporate means, like, big business, and I honestly don't. No. I don't know what it means. Anyways, irrelevant. The point is that I was working a job like that, something way more stable and structured, and yeah, I mean, I liked it a lot at the beginning. I was trying something new when I started it, and I thought it was really wonderful at first. I really enjoyed what I was doing, but over time, I mean, it was really just, like, circumstances of the actual company that I was at, but just what I was doing every day kind of changed, like, my tasks. Eventually got to a place where I felt like I was more unhappy than happy being there. Yeah. When I first started, I felt like I was more happy. So, yeah, you know, things change. But I realized over the past year that, like, even after I left my job, my perception of work was really shaped by, like, what I saw my parents doing when I was younger. And basically, I always thought that you needed to have a job like what I saw, you know, what was modeled to me growing up. And I feel like I didn't want that exactly. And so when I didn't want that, I felt so much stress because I was like, well, I don't know what the other option is. Yeah. So I'm like, do I just go and do something that makes me feel stressed and unhappy? Or do I essentially, like, not do that, but then feel like I'm a failure? Like, I don't know. Yes. I don't know what to do because I just didn't have, like, a reference. And I think I know some people who have parents who are entrepreneurs, and their perception of work is very different. No better or worse. It's just that, like, a lot of these people will be like, well, I want to be an entrepreneur. They actually know what to do because they've watched their parents do it. But it's really what you're modeled as a child really informs how you view things as an adult. And so anyways, I think that the way I was perceiving work made me super scared to start a job like this. And the only reason I ever started it in the first place was because the position that was offered to me was very creative and honestly lax, and the boss was really chill. And I was like, if it's going to be a job like this is really, like, a great version of that. Yeah. Like, something I could at least give a shot. And as I was there and, like, over time, whatever, in the past year, I just think that, like, my perception of work was maybe not exactly... Is the word, like, the best? Like, I don't even know what the word is.
No, I agree. That's what I was trying to say earlier. Like, I did not have a good perception of work either. And this job has, like, helped me understand that, like, it's all good. Yeah. Like, it's not
just, like,
that
the reality of how it is, and, like, oh, actually, I can balance my life if I choose to do certain things. Like, I don't know. It was very daunting. Yes. Like, after college, I think I was very afraid of doing things a certain way. I'd never, like, sat and done, like, a typey job. You know what I mean? I don't know. And maybe that's a really privileged thing to say. Like, I don't know. I I've never been one to do that type of job, and so I was really scared to, because I was like, what does that mean for like how my life is going to look otherwise?
No, that's exactly what I was trying to say earlier. And obviously I think we're both very grateful to be in a position to say, like, we didn't necessarily have to like rush into work or whatever, like grow up having to work, etc., etc. But I bring up your corporate job because since you and I are similar in the way that we perceive work, I was like, well, Sophia did it, I can do it too.
Oh, 100%.
And so that's why I was like am open to like working this kind of job.
I mean, also, I ended up quitting not because of the nature of the job.
Right.
I really ended up quitting because I feel like I wasn't getting what I needed from like the company. It wasn't necessarily because I was like, oh, I can't take it anymore. Like, it's this. When I liked it, I loved going. I actually had the best time. I even told you when I started, I was like, I spent all day laughing and like I feel so fulfilled. It's great. And so 100%, I think you could, first of all. But it's a lot more dependent, I think, on just like what you're doing and who you're surrounded by versus the structure.
Right. And also this job description was like hybrid. It was in, which is a beautiful place. I love going there. And it's like, it was a makeup company. I obviously love makeup. And like, I've actually met the recruiter before. She was at your birthday, which you don't remember that part.
I remember her.
She was literally at Sophia's birthday last year, but it just kind of seemed like something like that was right up my alley, and I was kind of willing to be uncomfortable for. Like, it was a sacrifice or a risk that I was willing to take for it, but I mean,
I think that matters a lot too, like the company that you are working for. Like, if you don't care what you're like about the product or the place that you're working for, I think it's a lot harder. Some people are able to do it, but I would find it really difficult because, like, if I'm selling something or if I'm trying to make something good, like, I better like it, you know? So maybe as well, like, finding companies that are aligned with your interests and what you like to do.
Yeah, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, I think I am also just feeling a lot more comfortable in the uncertainty. I don't feel the pressure anymore, which is a big fucking relief. And the thing that I am struggling the most with is being present and satisfied and grateful for where I'm at and enjoying the journey. I do kind of feel like, though, I've been in a rut for like 2 years. Like, I feel like it's been a 2-year long rut. Like, as soon as I moved back home after college, I was like, just a lot of resistance.
Right.
And I think I reached a low point recently, low enough to make me want to change. So I feel like I've kind of embarked on this like new journey, which I feel like is why I'm a lot more comfortable in talking about like the job situation and my family and living at home, because all of these things I was like off limits of talking about last year, which is why it was so hard to make that podcast, because there were so many things that I couldn't talk about, or I felt like I couldn't talk about.
Right. Something as well that I have been paying more attention to, having gratitude and being present and just being, I think, appreciative of the moment. Like, it's so easy to feel upset, at least for myself, when I don't know what's going to happen. It's really hard. Like, dealing with uncertainty is really, really, really difficult. And even though I'm, like, more comfortable with it, it is just a weird thing in your brain where, like, it's so hard to be like, I feel good about what's happening when you're like, what is going to happen? It's like you're constantly gripping onto your seat, like, oh my God. You know, if you're on like a ride and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to fall off. Like, what's going on? And it feels like if you make the wrong move, you're going to fall off. And it's like, I think being appreciative of the fact that it's like, you know what? I can pay for my apartment right now. I can give myself great meals and give myself nutrition and like go on walks, and
we can buy the road blushes
and we can buy the road
and be
blushes.
girls and organic tampons.
Exactly, the essentials. The road pocket blushes, organic tampons, and some nutritious meals. That's all you need. I am in a position where I'm so lucky that I can have this time to explore this part of myself and still be able to live a life that is wonderful. And I think I bring myself back to, like, when I'm uncertain, it's like, you know what, you're uncertain, like, you're on a ride. Life is really uncertain until the end. You don't ever know what's gonna happen. But I can be appreciative that, like, in this moment, everything is good. Like, I am fine. Even if you're having a bad day, it's like, I am fine. And I'm fine because I have made sure that I'm fine. Does that make sense? Like, I feel like I can back myself in a way that I'm like, you go, girl. Like, you know what I mean?
Also, something that I've been thinking a lot about is a lot of the past 2 years have been rooted in shame. I recently watched this YouTube video about shame, and the psychologist kind of dissected that every negative thing that you feel can be traced back to shame, which was so interesting. Ever since I've watched that video, if I think about how I'm feeling in a certain moment, I can also trace it back to shame.
Interesting.
Yeah, I'll send this to you if you want to listen to it.
Yes,
it's
I
really
would love
interesting.
to.
And there was like, he did a little exercise at the end of it. I was sewing my pillow. Okay, because I have this like raggedy ass pillow that I will not get rid of because it's like, you know,
She means
like
something
my
to you.
blankie.
Yeah.
Yes. I literally have a new pillow that's exactly the same, but they changed the material that they made it out of.
Yeah.
And it's all scratchy now. It's like not cotton. It's like
I don't even know if you can call it a pillow, dude. Like, it's not a pillow. She has like a scrap of fabric.
Okay, that is my blinky.
Oh, sorry. She has 2 scraps
Now
then.
I have 2. Yes, I've added another one to a collection. Anyways, it was like a really insightful video and has made me reflect a lot on how big of a role shame has played in the rut, I guess, that I've been in for the past 2 years. We're entering a new era. Okay, we're entering a new era. She can talk about things and not feel shame.
Yeah, no, I think that's really interesting. I feel like the more you dive into that and work on it, like, you'll probably find some really juicy stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
The juice is
Flowing.
Yeah, I started the sentence and then I was like, wait, where are we going with this? Okay, that all being said, I asked on my Instagram story for some questions about post-grad life. So we're going to answer some questions submitted by you. First question is, how is meeting people now compared to back in college? This is a great fucking question. I love this question because I don't think I've ever really, A, thought about it that deeply, or B, talked about it.
For me, I think that in college, we went to a college that was very campus-based. So we would run into people all the time. Everyone was living within the same, like, couple of miles of each other.
We went to USC, by the way. I feel like I should have started with this. We went
Oh,
to
yeah.
USC. We graduated in 2022, obviously.
Yes.
2 years.
Oh, yeah, we didn't mention any of this.
Yeah, no. Sophia is a year older than me, but she took a gap year. So we did end up being in the
Same year.
same graduating class.
Yes.
That's our history. Okay.
Okay, so coming to college from my high school, I had the most social year of my life the first year that I went to college. To the point where I was definitely introverted growing up, and I identified heavily. I was like, actually, I am such an extrovert. The first year of college, I spent so much time with people. One, I had a roommate. I also had friends that I made within our hall who would spend time in our room. So it was like always people in our room. I felt like I barely was alone. And then on top of that, just like meeting people in classes and whatever, like being a freshman in college, I was like flooded with just a really pop-in social life at that time. That carried on through college in the sense that I knew that if I ever wanted to meet people, all I really had to do was go to a party, talk to someone in class, literally like go to a club, talk to somebody on the street. Like, there were so many people our age just surrounding us. Yeah. And it was very easy to find people with similar interests, similar, like, my age, other girlies, like...
There was a big community.
Yes, exactly.
At USC.
And it was just at your fingertips. Like, you really didn't have to do anything. And I know for some people who go to, like, city colleges or, different college experiences, maybe they don't have that. So I can't say, like, because the question is, how is it different in college and after college? I think this is very specific to, like, my college experience. But afterwards, it's been so different because you aren't surrounded by people your age anymore. You have to go find them. Also, people have jobs. They're more busy. And you can't just hang out with people whenever you want. I feel like in college, you just show up.
You can pop up.
And it's just
pop in.
Fine.
Pop
yeah.
in, pop out.
Like, people
like your
don't have as much to do. Exactly. And people are, like, studying or going to class, but it's definitely not their whole day.
No. And it's like the weekends pretty much are from Wednesday to Saturday. Or honestly, every day you can go out and find a party to go to.
So, yeah, I think after college, the main thing has been, like, the amount of effort that you have to put into making friends is really different. It doesn't just land in your lap, and it's a muscle you have to kind of work. I've had to really intentionally be like, I'm going to make new friends. Like, I'm going to find people, because otherwise it doesn't happen. Like, if you go to work and you just go home, like, unless you're really lucky, it's not just going to happen.
I feel like that's interesting because I think I've had the opposite experience. Like, everything that you said about social life in college, like, obviously we went to the same school, so we had the same experience, but I, after college, have been really satisfied with my social life and the people that are in my life, so I hadn't really, like, put much thought into making new friends because I hadn't really felt like I needed to, and the friends that I did make, it happened naturally. The first year out of college, like, I really didn't care to make friends, so I just didn't make friends, And then it's not that I'm like intentionally trying to make friends now, but I am open to it, and I've been able to just naturally make friends, and pretty much all of them have been a result of work. Like, since this new store that I work at is new, we had like a grand opening party, and this photographer came and he brought a +1, and I ended up making friends with the girl, and she's so sweet and so amazing, and we've gone out a couple times together, and now we're friends, and it just happened naturally. And I was not even the one who kind of like initiated the friendship. She basically approached me at the party, and then we got to talking, and it just kind of like one thing led to another. We ended up going out together, and like now we're friends. And I also think the other part of making friends after college is friends of friends. Like, if it's not people that I meet at work, then it's mutual friends. So like both of us went to this 4th of July party, and we ended up meeting so many people, and it's not like we came out of that with like a whole new group of friends, but it's like you meet all these people and now they're in your circle, and if you see them, you know, you're acquainted. And if it ends up going anywhere,
it's like the door maybe to a new friendship.
Yeah, exactly.
But that's kind of what I mean. Like, I agree that is like going to something like that, you're just meeting them organically, and like you're not having to be like, I'm gonna be your friend at all. But something that's different for me is like, for example, I have to be like, oh, I'm going to go to this in order to meet the new people.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean? Because I feel like otherwise it's easy to not meet new people if you don't put yourself in situations where you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what I mean, like, compared to college. Because college, I would meet new people whether I liked it or not.
Right.
Like, I didn't have a choice. So that part is just different. I think it's like the pool of people that you can pick from feels so much bigger sometimes when you're surrounded by them constantly.
Yeah.
And I just have to be a little more intentional about it. But it's not a bad thing, because when you're open to and like thinking about like, I'm going to try and meet people and see what happens, I feel like you maybe find people that are even better and like more suited for you and more aligned with you. Because in college, sometimes I would meet people and become friends with people or acquaintances with people who I didn't really even like barely knew, or maybe I didn't like them, or I just didn't feel like I connected with them, but we were friends because like we just saw each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Something that has been bigger for me is not meeting new people. I almost kind of prefer like this era of like meeting people, because I feel like I know what I want in a friendship, to the point where it's just really easy for me to be like, I want to be friends with you, or I don't want to be friends with you, if that makes sense. But what's been harder for me is like making time for the friends that I already have, and like sustaining those friendships, because like you said, we have jobs now, we don't live in the same fucking neighborhood anymore, and everyone has a different schedule, and it doesn't always align. Like, sometimes you and I will go like a month without even hanging out, and sometimes I feel like if I have more friends than I already do, like I'm not going to be able to keep up with that social
that is
life.
hard. I think maintaining friendships is harder because like in school with that community, it happens so naturally. You don't have to really maintain it. You see them anyways.
Yeah.
And I think after college, you have to try so much more. Like, it's not just going to happen automatically.
Yeah. And I feel like I would rather put my energy towards maintaining the friendships that I know and love than making new friends. At least that's how I feel right now. Like, I'm still very satisfied with my social life, and I'm not closed off to like making friends or meeting new people, but I don't think I've ever like set the intention of I want to go out and make a new friend. But if it happens, like I will put in the effort to like foster that friendship. Does that answer the question?
I think so.
Okay. Ooh, this one's a good one. How has your outlook on life changed? What are some habits you have now? Well, I think this entire episode has been about how our outlook on life has changed, but some habits that I have now. I feel like the past year, when I talk about habits, it's so, like, I start from the beginning. We don't want me to start from the beginning. I'm about to start from the beginning. Throughout the course of COVID, I developed habits like meditating and journaling and working out, And I kind of kept up those habits throughout college, but the year after college, I don't know why, but I really fell out of doing those things. But the result of doing those things when I first started doing them was so impactful for me that when I reached this low point in my life recently, I was like, okay, we need to be a little bit more consistent because I know how beneficial they can be for me. Those things are like meditating, journaling, going outside is a new one for me, but working out consistently, reading. I try not to go on my phone in the morning. Sometimes I do. Throughout me getting this job, it was hard for me to balance being able to do all these things and go to work at the same time, because working retail, I mean, working any job is just so fucking draining and exhausting that when I wake up, all I want to do is just go to work, and then after work, I'm so tired, all I want to do is lay down. And so you just get stuck in this cycle where you end up like losing all of the good habits that you have, because also these good habits take so much fucking time. Like sometimes my morning routine can take like 3 hours, which is like not everybody has 3 hours to like meditate, read, journal, go outside, work out, etc. But I've been trying to prioritize doing these habits when I have the time and energy to do it, and allowing myself the space to not do it if I don't. But when I do have time, I do the thing, because it got to a certain point where even when I did have the time, I would just not do it, because it also is hard to reintroduce certain things into your life when you haven't done them for a while. But I have found that trying to find a balance of keeping these certain habits consistent and giving myself space to not do them when I can't, like when I actually can't, not just like I'm being lazy, has been really helpful. And I've been journaling a lot more lately, which has surprisingly been super, super helpful. And it's because I've been reading this book, The Artist's Way, and I've been talking about this like every time I talk to anybody, I bring this fucking book up, and I haven't even read the whole thing. I'm only on week 1. Anyways, one of the very first activities that the author tells you to do is morning pages, which is basically 3 full pages of stream of consciousness, and there's no right or wrong way to do it.
Right or wrong.
And at first I kind of was like, this is a lot. Like 3 pages of journaling every single day is a lot, and it takes a lot of time. But after like 2 weeks, I really started to see how good it actually was with how I processed certain things. So now if something happens, I would just go journal about it and I'm good.
Love. Habits for me, honestly, this year I have gone through so many phases of having a more strict routine with lots of habits that I do every day. And I've also gone through phases where I don't have anything at all that's like concrete in my day. I think during college, I was more the type of person that had a more structured routine. Like I had more habits. And so not having them as much has been new for me. And really that's like a byproduct of me changing my job and like having a very different schedule that I follow every week now. But in general, I think some habits that I've been trying to just keep up with are getting outdoors. I just find that really centers me. Even when I have a really bad day, or even when I've done nothing else for myself, I find that going outside is actually the cure for me. Outside of that, honestly, getting a good sleep schedule. I haven't nailed it, but I need it. And when I do it well, I feel so much better. But I don't really know if I have any like concrete habits at the moment, just because I'm also trying to work with myself on like letting go of certain expectations, or like the challenge of sometimes even like holding myself to like structure too much. And so releasing these habits and letting myself kind of be a little more fluid in how each day looks has for me been kind of helpful.
No, that's like a really good point, because that's like kind of what I was getting at for myself. Like I've been in a routine where it's been super strict, and I do like meditate, journal, read, go outside, work out, like back to back to back every single day. And I've kind of come to terms with the fact that that's not like realistic for myself, and I don't feel shame about like not completing my entire 3-hour fucking morning routine if I don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, something I've been thinking about is like, I don't feel like, and this is a whole, honestly, hour-long conversation in itself, so I'm just going to dip my toe in it.
Perfect.
But I feel like wellness and, you know, like the clean girl aesthetic and like that girl and the green girl and the bean girl and all the thing girls. Yeah, all the girls, like, whatever. Obviously, it's become very trendy to, like, be on your shit, like, to have your wellness together. Wellness is trending right now in a way that it hasn't, or that it wasn't like 10 years ago. And that's great for us. You know, we love people to be healthy. However, I do believe that the people who are like, yeah, I do all these things like back to back, you know, all these healthy habits that are like the healthy habits, you know what I mean? Like, I have a green smoothie, I go for a walk, I go to Pilates, and I meditate, then I do all this stuff. I don't really think that that's like wellness, because a lot of the times And some people really do this and feel good. So, like, no hate to that. But a lot of the time, because it's a trend now, people are like, oh, I have to do all these things. And then trying to keep up with it is causing them stress.
Yeah, it's like, I have to do these things or I am not healthy.
Right. Or it's like...
It's like a black and white thing.
Exactly. And then it's like, I have to, like, do it in a way that looks like this. And, like, I just think that wellness is so much more, like, here. And obviously your body, too. But, like, if you don't feel good in what you're doing, it's not wellness. Yeah. I think there are even instances where people can be, like, thinking about these healthy habits and trying to do them. And this is not the case for everyone, but I even think like that can sometimes be disordered.
Yeah.
By being obsessed with wellness, you are negating everything else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you are not...
It's canceling out the benefits that are even...
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not that like I don't do anything because of that. It's just that's something I've been thinking about. Yeah. And at the end of the day, I'm just trying to make sure I feel good when I go to sleep. Like it doesn't really matter what it looked like or what I did. And I'm trying not to put so much pressure on myself to do certain habits because really the habit that I want to have is like going to sleep feeling nice. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's exactly why I've like taken the pressure off myself to think that if I don't do my 3-hour morning routine, then I'm not healthy, you know, because I think at some point like also falling into that trap or that line of thinking, and it was making me feel more like shit. Like I felt guilty about not doing my healthy habit routine. I totally agree. Like being too strict about anything, like A, it's not going to last. B, it's not going to make you feel good. And C, like, it literally just defeats the entire purpose of all the things That's what I was trying to say. Defeats the entire purpose.
Yeah, it defeats the whole purpose of what you are actually trying to achieve. And I also think there is a time and a place. Like, I think for the past year, me not doing my healthy habit routine, it just wasn't the time for me. And that's okay. But now I think it's appropriate for me to, like, reintroduce these things into my life because now it's the time for me. It's really just about listening to your mind and body and making that connection. Period. Next question. What would you tell your high school / college self? I think I would say follow your gut, trust yourself, continue to trust yourself, because there was a time where I know that I just didn't trust myself as much, and I would just want to remind her that it's all good. Like, just trust yourself. Like, just listen to yourself and follow your gut. Like, don't worry about what other people are thinking. Don't worry about what other people want you to do. Just, like, do what you feel good doing, and, like, you will be fine. See, I don't know. I really don't like this question because I don't know what I needed to hear at the time. Like, I feel like right now I need some advice, but I don't know what I need to hear. I also kind of think that people will give me advice, but I won't know how to internalize it until I've learned the lesson myself. Yeah. So it's like, even if I were to give myself advice at the time, like, I'm definitely the kind of person that just needs to go through something in order to understand something. So I don't know if me even giving myself advice would be helpful to her, but I would say just, like, enjoy the present, girl. Like, life goes by so fast. You're never gonna be at that point in your life again, so you might as well just enjoy it. I guess that's what I need to hear right now. Yeah. But it's just hard to embody. Yeah, low-key, like, when I tell myself, like, just trust your gut, I'm also talking to myself currently. I kind of agree with you. I don't know what I would say to myself in college. Honestly, you know what I would say? I'd be like, have fun, enjoy it. Like, please have fun, enjoy this time. It won't last forever. Yeah. And when I was a freshman, it felt like it would last forever. And then I got to my senior year and I was like, how was that 4 years? And I realized that it was just a blip in my life. I won't be able to go back. And I'm like, I would be like, have fun, girl. Please enjoy your time. Yes. Just, like, appreciate it. No, exactly. I've been realizing this, too. I'm like, when I was young, I thought, I mean, okay, wait. I'm still young. Calm down. But when I was younger, like a teenager, high schooler, I was like, I'm always going to be this way. Like, I would look at older people and be like, that's so far away. No, I'm, like, there. We're there. Not that we're old, but, like, it was so fast. And another thing I feel like I would tell myself is that it's okay to be yourself, girl. Like, I spent so many of my years trying to mold myself and pretend to be a person that other people would like. And I feel like that was just such a waste of time. Like, obviously that was a thing that I had to go through to be able to find myself currently, but I feel like I wasted so much of my time changing myself to please other people. And I just wish I hadn't done that as much and, like, spent more time, like, accepting myself, because I also would have made, like, the people in my life would have been better. One more question. What you've been up to. If you want to know what we've been up to, Sophia has a podcast. My podcast is called Double Text. You can find it on Spotify. You can find it on YouTube. Video episodes actually are kind of coming. New. Yes, very new. So here for it. You can also find me on Apple Podcasts and anywhere else that you really get your podcasts. It's called Double Text. Please enjoy. I obviously have a YouTube channel. If you want to know what I've been up to, you can go watch my other videos. Okay, I have one last question for you. Okay. Do we have any goals for the next year? I just want to be open.
I was
just
gonna
wanna-
say something similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want to remain open. I like this little journey that I feel like I've embarked on recently, where I've kind of realized that I was able to learn how to love myself when I was in college. I told you this before, but I've come to terms with the fact that maybe I don't exactly love myself as an adult, and we're gonna go on a new self-love journey in adulthood and learn to love myself and the journey that I'm on, and it feels good. It feels better.
Yeah. Something I've been thinking about, so I'm just going to use this word. I want to be more like brave in the decisions that I take. I feel like I have been more so, and I'm proud of myself, but like I find a lot of fulfillment and I'm finding a lot of like excitement in my life when I am a little bit more brave in the decisions that I make. And they're small things, like it's not like something that anyone could just look at my life and be like, whoa, she's so brave. But like things that I know take me courage to do. And I really want to continue doing that and see where it takes me. Because I don't know, yeah, I want to be open to, like, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think I find that when I'm brave, it's usually because I'm like the other option to doing something that takes courage for me is usually like not doing something that I want to do. You know what I mean? And so that I don't like that feeling.
Right.
And so I want to like push myself to continue having courage to like do things that make me happy.
I love that.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for coming on and for your time.
You're so welcome. Bye.
Is my ass in this? I'm sweating.
Okay. Let's calm down.
Literally all my thoughts are gone.